Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your hosts, Joel Chahine.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day. Welcome to this Tuesday edition of Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Chahine, Dennis Dick. We are coming at you from all over the map this morning. We have Chris in Detroit, Dennis in Canada, Joel and I in New York City from the Benzinga FinTech Awards. So if we have any technical issues, well, you'll know why, folks, but we're going to roll through it anyway. It's going to be that kind of a show. On this show this morning, we have Home Depot earnings. We're going to walk through yesterday's biggest movers. Dennis is going to tell you what stock is getting crushed down this morning. And we're going to be joined by Nick Chahine, author of Create Income with Option Spreads at 8:35. Joel, how are we doing this morning in the S&Ps?
We are trading in the red here, Spencer, by 7.5 points at 27.2350. Put a top in just above that closing price at 31 even yesterday. Pre-market high stands at 27.31 and a quarter. Our pre-market low at 27.20 and a half. So we've already lost yesterday's low at 24 and a quarter. Mid-range on the session comes in at 27.26. Crude continuing to hold above $70, up 52 cents at 71.48. Gold in the red by $12 at 1306.20. Silver following suit down 28 cents at 16.36. And we got to check Bitcoin because, Dennis, you're not going to believe this. There's a huge Bitcoin conference going out here, and they got 4,000 people to pay $2,000 a piece for a Bitcoin concert. Bitcoin,
seriously, like 2,000. The admission is $2,000.
Yes.
They had 4,000 people pay $2,000 to talk about Bitcoin,
and I'm pretty sure they got every hotel room in the city.
Really? This Bitcoin thing. Maybe it's going to get hot again. Where is the Bitcoin price?
Bitcoin, I got the futures up here, Dennis, and it's trading.
Do they trade? Do they still trade? Volume at all?
You know what? On certain days, it does. I'm not seeing a lot of volume today. Let me go get my daily data window up here. Still getting together here at the venue. But 10,000 shares yesterday, 8,000 the day before. 6,000, 8,000, and then it has these lackluster days. Like on May 2nd, only traded to 1,500. But if I had to hazard a guess, I see the daily average volume's right around 5,000. I see one day where it traded 20,000. So it's catching on just a little bit. But, to have that kind of conference now, I don't know. Can you short a conference, Dennis?
I don't know about shorting a conference, but it's come back a bit. There's still a lot of believers out there, and in my Twitter feed, there's a lot of like you got Mark Yusko there, who we've had on the show multiple times, and he's a big believer. And he's a believer, like he was saying before. This thing could, potentially. I think he said that RBC target of $1 million wasn't out of the realm of possibilities. So you've got some big people who are believers here too. I have never really been a believer. We've talked about Bitcoin a few times when it was hot there back in the day. I kind of hated it all the way up. I've hated it all the way down. So I'm just going to probably continue to not be a believer here. Reasons is a number of things. Obviously the valuation thing, I cannot figure out how to value it. I think there's value. People will say the intrinsic value is zero. I don't believe that. I think there is value there. There's value in other smaller countries, where their currencies are so volatile, where maybe you get some stability eventually if Bitcoin price does stabilize, and, a better means of transferring money, maybe across countries too. So I think there's some value there. I don't know what that value is. That's why I'm out. So I'm going to stay out. When you're talking about $300-400 billion market caps, and there's 1,300 other cryptocurrencies there, just too many unknowns for me at this time. So I stay out of Bitcoin.
You want to hear something interesting? I believe a week or so, I stopped to get some gas, and you know how they have ATMs at the gas station? Well, they had a Bitcoin ATM as well.
Really? So these things are popping up. So you
All
can pop a little coin pops out at you. How do you get? So I don't understand how a Bitcoin ATM works, because Bitcoin is this digital number. So they give you like a little transaction slip there that you transferred Bitcoins. Like there's no physical coin. How's that? What's the purpose of an ATM? How does that work?
Dennis, I'm flat.
I have Bitcoins written on a piece of paper. Well, how is anybody going to believe you that these are really Bitcoins on this piece of paper? I don't know how Chad, if you can help me out, how the hell does a Bitcoin ATM work?
I don't know. I'm flat, so I couldn't try it.
No physical money. That's the whole point to it. So what do you need an ATM for? I'm shorting the Bitcoin ATM company. I've decided already.
It's probably the same one as the other one, so I don't know how much luck you're going to have with that. But so Dennis, we got you in I want to say in the office, in your office, keeping track of the markets here. Do you feel we put a top in yesterday?
No, but I feel like we need a breather. So we have been up, and yesterday's candle wasn't pretty. We had the big run up. If you look at yesterday's trading action, we can bring it up. Maybe we had the run up in the morning. Everybody's buying in, and then it started leaking. You actually saw some of your leaders start to leak as well. I mean, Apple has been a big time leader here. It was popping up. It leaked all afternoon. Not huge, but enough. Amazon gave back about $10. Facebook was leaking a bit as well from the highs of the day. So you had a small steady leak. I think you got some profit taking. I mean, we have had an incredible run here for the last 7-8 trading sessions here. So it's not surprising that we'll get some profit taking. I still think we're going to make new all-time highs here, possibly within the next month. But I think it's not going to be straight up, and we're going to have pullbacks. And those are the pullbacks that are going to be buying opportunities. And I'm still licking my chops. I was still buying more emerging markets funds in my investment portfolio, so equivalent to the EEM, because that, if you look at bring up the EEM and bring it up longer term, really has not performed well. I mean, 2011 EEM was $47. Here we are, 2018. EEM is $47. Now we got crushed in 15 and 16, but if you're just thinking, that's going to be a catch-up trade here eventually, and you're looking for markets that have not went straight up for the last 5-6 years, well, China's not done well. A lot of your other markets really have not done that well. So I've increased my international exposure here. I can still stay with a very strong oil exposure as well. So those are the sectors that I'm heavier weight as. International, you can call that a sector, and oil, because I still think oil is hot. And oil's hot this morning here still too, Joel. We're up here again this morning on the USO, trading up about 0.5%. So oil remains fairly hot.
Yeah, I want to try and take the other side of your new all-time high bet. I got to frame it right. I see.
Are you bearish? Are you bearish?
I just don't think we're racing. I mean, if you're talking about, path of least resistance, and you think the high in the SPOOs is 28.05, so that's 80 points away. I think the path of least resistance is lower here after this rally. So I don't know. You won't give me the edge on something. So hopefully we'll get one more up day, and then you'll get all super bullish, and then I can make the bet. But
chase. You don't want to chase in this market, though, and that's what we've been stressing here. Chasing stocks has got you hurt. And we are straight up here, literally 7 trading sets. May 3rd, we're hitting 259 on the SPY, and it looked like we were going to test the lows. Then we just reversed for 7 straight trading sessions, and we're up, basically 5-6% in the last 7 sessions. You're chasing it here now. You're buying stocks up here, you're chasing, and we have been given lots of pullbacks here in the last 3 months. I think there's still going to be pullbacks. I don't think we're going straight up. So I'd say wait for a pullback if I'm, looking, at buying stuff here. Maybe, I don't know I think you're just chasing here if you're buying
stuff.
All
right, you know what? Let's just look at the SPY here real quick. And because I know you won't do anything based on the S&Ps. The all-time high in the SPY, Dennis, the all-time high tick in January, 286.63. And so we're still, let's call it 273 right now. And change.
Well, we'll call it 272.34.
I knew you were going to do that. I knew you were going to do that. 272.
I already get the edge. He tries to sneak in 65-cent edge. You see that, guy?
Okay.
See how he works?
Let's go. So at 272 up to 280, that's 14. I'll go 10 either way. I'll take 10.
I want the high. So you got to go 14. And
go ahead. Go ahead,
You're
lay it
making
out.
me make a bet at the highs. I want to pull back and then I want to make a bet with you because if I'm making a bet here, I'm equivalent to just chasing the market, which I just told you not to do. So I'm not making a bet here. I'm waiting for the pullback and then I'll get you all. We're going to pull back to like 266 on the SPY and then I'll get him in a bet because then he'll get all bearish.
Oh, and I want a little bit of a rally so you get super bullish and then I can stop you. So
there's no bet here happening this morning. Let's move on.
How about 20? Okay, forget it. Let's
no bet.
Home Depot.
Yeah, and you know what? If you're chasing stocks, you get hurt. And yesterday, Home Depot straight up into the number. Man, this earnings season is like clockwork. They go up into the number, they report, and then they fade. And this is exactly what we saw here from Home Depot again, straight up for the last three sessions from 183 up to 191 into the report. And the report is not good enough. Spencer, details.
All right, Home Depot Q1 EPS $2.08. That's a 2-cent beat on the estimate. Sales $24.9 billion versus $25.22. So slight miss on that number as well. Fiscal year 18 sales are going to grow by about 6.7%. Com sales is going to be up around 5%. EPS growth of around 28% from the fiscal year last year. So those are all good sales growth numbers, but the EPS and the sales for Q1 were just not good enough.
It's not good enough. They have to blow it away when the stock's running up into it. And really, when you put it in perspective, if you just go back even to about 12 trading sessions ago on April 25th, I estimated that it might be about 15 sessions ago, we're 174. So now we're 191. We are literally looking almost 10% higher from where we were just about a month ago, especially if you look at the lows down at 170. So it's run up, and it's run up into the report, and it's not good enough. So that's why you're getting the pullback here this morning.
And a pullback it is. You've got a buyer, though. You found a buyer here this morning. You put in a pair of lows here in the 184 handle, 184.50. They hit that 58, then they bounced again off 184.55. You're $2 away from that level, so I would keep an eye on that. It also coincides with your 3-day, or excuse me, no, it's just above it. If it takes out 184.50, next support point is right on those half numbers, 183.57, and then a double bottom at the 182.50 area. If, in fact, we go into rally mode, since we've made that low, folks, you're at the high of the rebound. I'll call minor resistance 187.
Lowe's trading down in sympathy here as well. LOW, they usually report a couple days later, but I don't see them on the schedule for this week. Spencer, can you dig into when LOW is going to report? Stock is trading down $1 here in sympathy. Had a little bit of a run up, not nearly as much running up as the Home Depot, though, because if you look at Lowe's, 81 up to 85, well, 86, I guess it ran up to. I guess even you could say it ran up to 87 yesterday before peeling back, but not nearly as high of a run up here. It's pulling back a bit this morning, Joel. I don't know if you can look at the low from 2 days ago, 85.20. That seems to be somewhat holding. We're 85.50 in the pre-market, but pulling back in sympathy with Home Depot this morning.
May 23rd before the bell.
Okay, so about a week. So we're a little bit so you got a preview here a little bit with the Home Depot ones. We'll see what Lowe's does. I mean, it's all about maybe low. It depends what the market does a week from now. If we're running up into it, we know they got to blow it away. But if it starts to leak, then it won't have to blow it away. So it could be a blessing in disguise that Lowe's is reporting a week from now, as opposed to reporting right when the market's been going straight up.
I just don't like that 2-day low there, Dennis, at 85. I mean, you're close to that right now. You're trading in the 85 handle. Pair of lows are from Tuesday, or no, a 2-day low is 85.20. If that doesn't hold, folks, so you got another buck slide to 84.09. So a lot of air underneath in lows as well.
Semantic Matt is talking about in the chat, and SYMC is trading up here in the pre-market. It was trading up the last couple of days. So you really had that capitulation bottom, the washout all the way down to 1885. And it's kind of just been a pretty good straight up bounce since then. So people came in to buy the dippers, winning here again. If they were early on it, on that morning when we were talking about it, was 22, 23 bucks. That wasn't good. But if you waited until, the intraday trading, and you waited until obviously the thing, made that low, and then it came right down and tested the low. So we made the low, if I'm just looking on that first day of trading, the capitulation bottom around 1885. And if you look at the intraday trading that day, we then bounced up after we made that low up to 20 bucks. Then we pulled back and we traded around $19 for 3 to 4 hours before we kind of formed a little bit of a base. And then we started coming up. So that's the whole, key is when you're trading these things that are just washing out, wait for them to bottom, wait for them to get a bounce. And then maybe on the retest of that bottom, that's when you strike. And if you were striking anywhere from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on May 11th on the 19 handle, you're pretty happy here right now because stock is trading up at 21.79. There was a conference call last night, Spencer. Not sure if you got the details on what was said, but the stock is trading a little bit higher here. So obviously,
I got the details for you.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, they said that they voluntarily contacted the SEC. So, hey, points for volunteering. And that an internal investigation is underway. Their financial results and guidance are subject to change based on whatever the SEC finds in their audit. But the street likes it. I saw Jeffries upgraded them this morning to hold. I think Kramer liked it as well last night, no?
I can't remember what he said about it. Kramer was hot last night. He was talking about a lot of stocks, and we should do a little Mad Money recap here because we know Kramer moves stocks, and we'll do that. But let's talk SYMC first. I don't remember what he was saying. If Chad, if you were watching Mad Money, maybe you know what he was saying. But I don't think he was bearish, though, because the stock was trading up last night. And if he was bearish, usually he can knock it right back down. I mean, on CNBC, you can talk about people who move stocks. Kramer still, of your regulars on CNBC, Kramer is by far still the most influential. He gets bearish on a stock and he can knock it down. And we're going to talk about Shake Shack here in a second because he's knocking that down here in the pre-market because he got bearish on it last night. But SYMC trading up here in the pre-market is up 2%. Joel, technicals here. What are your thoughts? You know, it's bounced back to those lows.
It's not, I like to use the old term seller's exhaustion. Well, everybody that wanted out sold on Monday.
Capitulation bottom.
Friday, you traded 8 million shares, 112 million shares traded on Monday. On Friday. Thursday was the $8 million day or 8 million share day. Then you traded 112 million on Friday. Everyone that's out, got out on that day. So it's just, it is going up, but I think it's more just a lack of sellers here. So any of your shorter term players, they were buying this on whatever standard deviation it moved that it had on Friday, they'll be taking short-term profits here. So don't look for that gap to be filled here anytime soon in SYMC.
I will tell you.
Pre-market high 22 and change. Initial pop 22.49, but sellers hanging out at 22 right now. What was your other comment?
Just trading like crazy here this morning. 414,000 shares have already traded this morning. And obviously lots of shares trading after hours last night. So this thing is very active here in the pre-market. It's probably one of your most active stocks, SYMC. Let's do a little Mad Money recap. And just talking, he had a couple CEOs on there. Those two CEOs were from FSCT, which is Forescout Technologies, and SSNC. Both those stocks were trading up slightly last night. But let's go to Shake Shack because this was one that wasn't advertised. Like you didn't know that he was going to talk Shake Shack. And he started talking about it, the SHAK. And you got to thinking, okay, well, usually when Kramer's featuring something, he's usually bullish, but he comes on there and, he started talking about, and you didn't know which way he was going to go. And it started getting bid up. And you're like, okay, well, maybe he's going to go bullish here and go with the trend because he's been going with the trend a lot lately. But then, he started talking a little bit like, with the numbers and the valuation. He's like, I just can't defend it with his valuation up here. And he was like, ring the register. So basically that's his equivalent of sell. So it got knocked down. So it was trading up over $58 because everybody thought he was going to get bullish. He went bearish. Then it went all the way down to the low 57s. This morning is just kind of hanging out as we talk about it here because I just mentioned it's got bearish. Somebody just said it 57.02. That was one of the first or one of the only trades here this morning. 57.02 is where it's trading at right now. I did short it when he started getting bearish up there. So I am short Shake Shack right now. And I'll tell you, this chart doesn't look that pretty to me either. So I kind of liked it from a technical breakdown. And now you get Kramer ganging up on it. I think the stock could go down today. So I'm going to stick with this short as long as I can. Scalper blood me. I'll probably be out by 10 o'clock. But SHAK, I think, could have some heat here today because Kramer did get bearish, and it's been on a hell of a run.
And they got small burgers and small fries, and it's cost you $11.
That's
right?
Remember when me and you went there, Joel, and you took me there, and it was the second time I was there. I'll tell you, the burger, excellent. The fries, they didn't give you enough of. So first, and then we talked about this as my pet peeve here. I don't like to go to a restaurant and leave hungry. And I ordered the burger combo, burger, fries, pop. It was like $15, $14 or something because I got the double burger. I'm a pretty big eater. I'm a pretty big guy. I'm 210 pounds. And I'll tell you, they did not give me enough French fries, and I left hungry. And if I'm spending $14 on a hamburger and fries and pop, and I don't want to leave hungry. You go to any fast food restaurant, you never eat hungry. This is quick casual. So it's, it's the restaurants are beautiful. I mean, it's a nice experience. But if I'm going to spend 14, 15 bucks on a burger combo, I better get enough fries. So Talia Shake Shack, give more fries. What does the cost of potatoes? Next to nothing. Don't let your customers leave hungry. And then they start thinking they just spent $14 when they probably could have went to, there's a lot of good burger joints out there. There's the Rallies. If you're out on the West Coast, there's In-N-Out Burger is excellent. I mean, there's Checkers, which has an excellent burger. I don't think that burger is much better than the Checkers burger. So people are going to argue me, but I think this works in the big cities. I don't think it has any appeal in the smaller rural towns. I don't think you'll get anybody, from the country paying $15 for a hamburger combo. So I think the growth, I don't think he's going to pop up on every corner. I think you're somewhat limited. I think it works in Manhattan because everything is expensive in Manhattan. I think it works in, the bigger cities where people don't mind spending an extra couple bucks because everything's more expensive. But get out into the rural areas, I don't think this is going to work. And that's why I challenge that, that they have the expansion possibilities that everybody thinks they do.
Well, Dennis is at hard support at 210. They're trying to help you get through that support, Dennis. And what I would say also is just look at the growth, the earnings growth since the IPO. I mean, they're growing. You can't knock on that. They were at 4 cents per share in Q1 2015. They're at 15 cents a share Q1 2018. I mean, they're growing.
They're growing, but they got to grow a lot to grow into that value. So 15 cents. Even if you say that's their estimate for the quarter in 2018, or that's
that was their last reading.
All right, so I don't know, 15. Either way, if they're making, even give them let's say they make a buck, they're trading 60 times earnings if they make a buck. I mean, it's tough, burger joint. They better be growing like crazy to be justifying that multiple. I'm fine with the company, but I just think, it's run a long ways. I completely agree with Kramer here. This is a valuation issue for me. It really got the pop on the last report, which, yeah, they beat, but, even same-store sales, Kramer was pointing out on the piece. It's an excellent piece by Kramer, by the way. We don't give Jim Kramer props that much on the show, but it was an excellent, just breaking it down last night. And he was saying, same-store sales actually fell. Over the last quarter when they reported, and they were up slightly here, something like 1%. But you're talking about a newer company and same-store sales were already not growing. I don't think that's good. So even the estimates were only 0.4%. So they were 1%. So they were saying, oh, they beat, and that's why they popped it so much. But come on, 1% growth on a newer company, same-store sales, it doesn't sound great to me. I think there's a lot of people that go in there, see a $15 combo, leave hungry, not coming back. So there's still the people that are trying it for the first time that are helping it out. But long term, I don't know, man. I don't like this company or this stock, not at this valuation. No,
I knew Spencer was a little trouble when he tried to go fundamental on you and talking about earnings, man. He's stepping out. I mean, you're a CFA, right? I mean, you're
I don't use that very much.
You are one of the top CFAs in the country.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean,
I don't know about that.
Anyways. After that,
I just stole all that from Kramer.
After that 5-minute rant on the size of the Shake Shack burger, I will just tell you that $57 is a big number, and we are not moving away from it. We're trading at 57.25. 57.08 is your pre-market low. Your 3-day low, or make that 4-day low. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5-day low is 57.02, Dennis. So once this thing goes 57,
I think we lose 57.02 in the first 15 minutes.
I'm not going to fade you on that one.
I'm staying short. I think we're going to see this thing at $55 maybe in the next day or two, maybe lower.
It's going to fill the gap, Dennis.
You got Kramer. Kramer is influential. He's like an analyst. It's like an analyst downgrade when you get Kramer talking bearish on a company. He doesn't talk bearish on stocks that often. So that's why I was like, Kramer getting bearish? I'll try that on the short side. And I've been looking for an entry on this. I've been waiting for an analyst to downgrade it. Well, Kramer basically downgraded it last night. So props, Jim Kramer. I know you're not listening to the show, but we'll give you props here anyways. Maybe he is listening to the show.
He is listening.
Maybe he does listen to our show.
Where do you think he gets his
that's where he gets his pre-market. That's where he gets his comment or commentary there for his 8 o'clock piece. He gets it all from PreMarket Prep. So anyways, Shake Shack here. I'm bearish. I'm with you, Jim Kramer. I'm bearish. I'm playing it short side.
Can we talk about CBS, the network, not the pharmacy?
Let's do it.
Well, they've got some courtroom drama. The latest legal drama is not on their airwaves. It is in the boardroom because CBS is suing their parent company, National Amusements, and Shari Redstone over Undermining the board is what they're suing for. So this is a battle for control of the company.
And we saw a lot of action in Viacom yesterday. Viacom got the beats because they were, it was said, there was this lawsuit going on with Redstone. And then they're like, oh, okay, well, there's probably not going to be a deal then. But then it came out after like almost at 4 o'clock, I think at 3:30, that no, the deal price had been already determined between Viacom and CBS. And they were coming out with a price. I don't know if you see that in the Pro. There was a ratio that they had come up with for the Viacom CBS, and I think it was like 0.61 or something like that. Not agreed to, but it said it was potentially agreed to, but has been officially announced. So I don't know if it's going to be a deal here or not, but there's all kinds of wild factors happening with CBS. They get an upgrade from Bernstein today here too, and that is helping the stock in the pre-market. So you got potential merger here going to happen with Viacom. You got a lawsuit going on with Redstone. You got an upgrade from Bernstein. I don't know what all that means, but right now it means the stock is up about 0.76% in the pre-market, 41 cents.
All right, let's take a look at CBS here and how it is trading. And it's up 41 cents. Boy, there's a double top, folks. If you're looking at, we cleared that. We cleared, 54 area. You had a high at 53.87, 53.89. Trading into 54 handle, folks. You better hold 54 here. If not, you can easily see the close. The close in CBS from yesterday is, it's down 41 cents from where it's trading. Yesterday's close, 53.65. As far as the Viacom goes, how many times do you see the deals rumored, the deals talked about, the stocks get the pops, and then the longer it goes, the more it withers away? What was the stock last week that, it wasn't last week. Was it yesterday? We were like Twilio. I know this isn't takeover related, but man, it wasn't Twilio, ACIA, all those optical stocks.
Yeah.
Hey, like Harlan Pine says, you got to sell your peanuts when your circus is in town.
And
all the tents were up yesterday. That ended up with a big red bar in ACIA. So, just a kind of general rant here on, selling pops and, potential takeovers or overseas news. Just quick alert here. Crude is trying to get into the $72 handle, trading up 80 cents here at 71.76. That's making a new high of the move. Former high of the move was 71.89. So can we see crude in the $72 handle?
Yeah, and Joel's just making a point, and basically that point is sell on news. And a lot of times you see this happen. That's what happened yesterday. A lot of these communication stocks that were, affected by this news gapped up on the open. A lot of them gapped up near to the highs and actually gave back a lot of the gains, and ACIA gave back a lot of it as well. So you just got to be aware, when you see news, sometimes, this stuff is already expected and already priced in, and then the news comes, and a lot of times you see, and so the whole buy on rumors, sell on news thing, that has been, a saying in the markets probably for decades. Tell you, it still works. There's still a lot of, times where when something is very much rumored or when something is very much known out there, then the actual news happens. A lot of times you see the stock fall on it. And people are like, how can that be? Well, because it was all priced in. So jumping over to imbalances, we just had them come out, and holy cow, what's going on Bank America? BAC just falling here right now pretty heavily. Again, the pre-market. 1.3 million to sell in BAC. It's the biggest selling balance I've seen in Bank America in a long time. So that's interesting, down 92 cents in the pre-market. Some of your banks taking a little bit of heat here this morning. Not sure exactly why, because TLT is down, but I guess it's because SPY is down as well. So that puts pressure on it. But Bank America, that is a big sell imbalance. Alibaba, which had been on a tear, big tear, it actually got up near the $200, not even near the $200 level. It kissed 200 yesterday. Don't tell me those big whole numbers don't work, because the high right on the kisser for Alibaba, $200, could not get through it, and it's come back down. We are down now another $2 here this morning. 57,000 shares to sell this morning, so somebody's getting bearish here a little bit in Alibaba. The worm turned yesterday a little bit there, Joel, and that's why I didn't want to take a bullish bet, because I'm looking at it. I think we need a pause. I'm not getting bearish here. I still think I'm holding to that we're going to make new highs. I think Alibaba will make new highs here by summer. So when is that? June 21st? So about a month. I think Alibaba is going to be making new highs. I think we're going to get a pullback before then, though. We just run too far, too fast. Alibaba on April 25th was $166. It's now 100 got to 200 yesterday, 196. We need a breather here. And that's what I think we might get in the next couple of days.
Okay, just the big balance, 1.2 million to sell. Dennis, I didn't know you were lightening up on your Bank America today. Or else I would have went home.
You know I throw those million share orders out there.
Yeah. Well, it's probably someone else is selling 200,000, and then your million share order is just making it 1.2. You're at an area of resistance here. You've had a nice run in Bank America. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up days in a row. Just technically, just a little tight range yesterday, only a 20-cent range. Under yesterday's low, 31.03. That fills the gap. The high close of the move yesterday at 31.12. Couple other closes, 30.89, 30.92. So I don't know. I think you get maybe not shorten it here, but boy, if this thing gets anywhere near that high close of the move, I bet you even sellers congregating at 31. But that high close of the move, 31.12. That's a nice level. Yesterday's high and the recent high of the rebound, 31.23. Resistance forming in Bank of America.
Jump over to ratings land. We got 2 minutes before Nick Chahine comes on. I just want to pump our talk about a couple others ones. We briefly mentioned CBS. We got VRX. My VRX is doing good here again this morning there. This has been a good one for me. Stock is trading up here 4 or 3.5% of the pre-market. They're catching an upgrade at Mizuho here. So we have a lot of analysts starting to get bullish. I'm starting to get scared because too many people are getting bullish the stock now. I liked it when everybody was bearish. Now that they're all getting bullish, it starts to get me a little more nervous. But I'll take the 3.5% upswing here in VRX. I'm not sure my target. I was looking more on this one as not a long-term trade, but just more of a swing trade. $24 is where it got to if we look back in 2018. We're now $2.50 away from there. I think, those January highs I'm looking at. I think we got a shot to get there, but it's come a long ways now, and I'm almost at the point where I feel like selling half. Maybe the other half ride. What are your thoughts here, Joel? How should I play this VRX? I'm up about $5 on it now. I'm trying to figure out, when to ring the register. 5 points a pretty good trade on it.
Well, I mean,
I took some heat off the hop though, because I bought it and I was early, and I took about $2.50 of heat. So I got it. I'm at my 5. If you're saying 2-to-1 risk reward, I took $2.50 of heat. Now I'm up 5 points. I mean, I'm right there. So I kind of want to ring the register here, but there's not much in there either.
No, there's
it's
not.
In favor right now.
And, your pre-market high, you've backed off a little bit of that. Pre-market high is 21.75 and that 21.80. And there was quite a few brackets there between 6 and 8 o'clock where you hit that. You've backed off 46 cents. So I think for today, someone's going to be targeting the 21.86 to $22 level. Above that, I see a spike high in VRX. I saw a high at 22.86. That was a high that you had back at the end of January. And then, boy, just that 24.50 area sticks out like a sore thumb. 3 weeks in a row, back in early January, you topped out under 24.50. So try 22.86 and then 24.50. If you want to get out a little bit ahead of that, 24 even would be a good number as well.
I mean, right. Some of your biotechs and some of your drug stocks are back in favor too. Maybe we can bring Nick Chahine on and we can talk. Can we bring him on the fly, Spencer?
Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna bring Nick on the fly.
Okay. I'm in on the fly. I'm flying in.
He's already here.
I'm flying. I've landed. The eagle has landed.
The eagle has landed. We were just talking VRX. Now I just want to segue into biotechs. And what is interesting, actually, I want to get your technical thoughts here because everybody anticipated that Trump was going to be pretty negative there last week when he was talking the drugs. And really it wasn't that bad. And then, drug prices really, or drug stocks really popped up actually after Trump was talking about them, with the potential price caps. Is this, looking like, look, I just bring up the IBB here, for instance. It's had a nice 3-4 day run here. It's starting to look like, 100, where we retested the April low back in May. I mean, even the February low, and the IBB got down to 101. April, we did breach it, got down to 100, but then May, we couldn't breach it down to 100.43. Now we're up at 107 and starting to get a little bit of air out our back, wind in our sails, if you will. What are your thoughts here, technically, IBB?
We went long, actually. I did a video on it last week and went long on it. I said I was jumping the gun, but I went long on the whoosh lower when Trump was talking. I figured the bark was going to be more so scary than the actual bite itself, because they've been anticipating something bad for a while. And as it dipped, I was like, I'm going long right now. I was jumping the gun. And I shared a video on that. And I chose to go along the XLV. They're slightly different. You look at what makes them up. The only reason is I found in the past that IBB premiums on the options were hard to nail.
I gotcha.
It was so wide, so I just couldn't make sense of it. But I do like the technical setups. If they can take out the neckline in the XLV, it's somewhere around 84, then they can rally more. For me, I booked the profits yesterday. I re-engaged with some profits to stay long. So I was long at, I can't remember, it's 84, 85. I rolled it up, whatever it was. So profits in my pocket already, but I'm still long it. So if the stock market in general continues higher, these guys should go higher too.
Just jump to some individual biotech stocks, and we know stocks like Celgene and Gilead have been absolutely murdered. It's been like, any of these, big old biotechs that, don't have the growth there, and obviously Gilead and Celgene both tried to buy growth with the Juno and Kite purchases. But, here you are, Gilead. We're looking at back here at $67. It showed a little bit of a bottom, though. The last 6-7 sessions, multiple lows right there, 64.5. So is this like, a little rotation back into some of these value names or big value biotechs? Because Celgene and Gilead both showing a little bit of life.
I'm not an expert on them. I have traded them before, but more so on a technical aspect with respect to value. So if I see value, I usually take the risk and sell risk into what others fear. So, but sometimes the technicals are so bad. Like I just posted a short-term version on Gilead, and you can tell how there was like a massive head and shoulders, and it just coincided. But to your point, there is value somewhere. I mean, these are real businesses, and if I expand that same company into a 5-year view, because of all the whipsaws that you see there, then you get sense as to where the value is. But then I look at this big green band I put on my chart, which is, the bottom of it is around $63, maybe, let's say 64. Well, if it loses that is a massive head and shoulders that would target like 45. So I'm not calling for it down there. But if the market's correct, and if we have tariffs now and things are going to go sour, these will get a lot cheaper. I'm looking at a PE of under 10, I think, on a trailing for Gilead, for example.
Yeah.
So it's cheap, but it can get cheaper on a technical basis. So it better not lose the 63 level or 64 level. Because some pretty scary stuff below.
It's interesting you mentioned P's. I just want to make a point here because I've learned this the hard way. It's one thing, when you buy a stock, with a P of like 8 or 9, you think, well, how bad can it get? But you don't realize when the PE falls from 8 to 6, and the earnings are staying constant, that means that the stock can actually, have another 25% fall. So. Yeah. It's significant. It's easy, like when the multiples, it doesn't sound that bad to go from 8 to 6, but that's a 25% fall. When these P's get low and, if they come down to like 6 or 5, man, the stocks really fall then. So it's funny, you can think they're cheap and how bad they can get, but it doesn't even sound that bad to go from a PE to 8 to 7. But that's the equivalent of like, a 13% fall in the price of the stock, which is huge. Right. So that's one thing, considering, when you're buying low PE stocks is those PEs come down or just a little bit more and the stock price really gets hit.
Yeah, so you study your stocks and you trade them alongside the technicals. Like recently we had a call on Micron, got hammered. Somebody said it's going to go into 35 and the stock fell off a cliff. Yep. I sold puts into that based on the value. It had a PE of like 7 at the time. I can't remember what it was.
Even less.
Yeah, and then he said it's going to 35. And I'm thinking, okay, so you think the company's basically going out of business. I was like, I'll take that risk. So I sold the puts, and obviously they were real good win, easy win for me. So you study your stock and you see how price moves against what you know about it, and you see if the technicals are conducive, and then you can play the options to actually put a thesis in play there.
You've got Stiefel comments too there. I was just going to say before we change Micron, Stiefel comments there this morning. They put a $100 price target on this thing too. There's like 3 or 4 analysts now that have a $100 price target on Micron.
On Micron? My gosh. Okay.
I still think it's not out of the realm of possibility either. So I know I was on the record when the stock was 60 saying this thing could eventually be $100. So I might be wrong on that. I am long Micron. I was early on it, obviously in the wrong time.
So here's what you can do with that. I mean, if you think it's going higher, you sell puts to buy calls, or you sell put spreads to buy call spreads. So I sold the $40 puts for $2 for
Huge
October.
Premium.
For $2. So my break even was 38. So even if that guy was right and it's going to 35, not a big deal. Even if I owned it at
you're only losing $3 and you're making $2.
I was totally okay with that, and it being a $40 stock versus a $2,000 stock, it's an easier risk to gulp.
All right, a lot of questions here from our chat, Nick. So I want to get to the first one, I think, which was any words of wisdom for playing OEX or the Qs?
OEX, I used to do that, but I use the Qs now. I can tell you what not to do. Don't play I personally don't play the OEX or the ND. I don't remember if the OEX now has weeklies or not, but the NDX or the OEX are no touch for me on the weeklies short-term basis. Like you can play the weeklies long-term if they have them, but so the Qs are the easier. So here's the thing. If you're optimistic to market and long calls in the Qs, first of all, I leave time on the clock. I pay for the premium to go out in time so I'd have time to be right. And then I would also probably protect for the short term. So if I'm long, say June or July, I would want to protect the next couple of weeks with some debit put spreads. 2 things, either at the money, so rent insurance overnight. By that, I mean, if the markets don't fall the next day, you can take it off, or go below and protect for a 2% dip. And you pay 20 cents on a $1 wide. So if you get 2 of those, you spend $200 and you get $800 in potential profit if it falls. And this works on any ETF. If you're doing the SPY, the Qs, depends on the risk. So I do like the setup long term for the Qs if we can get out of this malaise of headlines. We are expecting a tariff headline soon. So,
all right, more chat symbols for you, Nick. Let's go to Baidu. Any opinion there?
Baidu. I recently traded it, but I don't like to chase at these highs. But having tested the highs, if they can break above them, so shorting. Here's the thing: being this high, it's not an obvious entry point for me. So going long it is basically going long the markets. So if I'm long the markets already, and generally speaking, I don't take Baidu long here, unless I know something about the company. If it falls, I mean, look at how I just posted a chart. Look at how it chops down from these high levels. So why take a handful of and then grab it just before it falls? So I'd rather see it dip towards 250 before I start taking longs.
What about?
If I miss it, I miss it.
What about Dropbox DBX?
Okay, I traded it and it got out of it. So it was kind of like a stick and move type of a thing. And I don't know enough about the company. I know I use it just because it's free. The day they tell me you're going to be paying for it, I'll say, see you. With the existence of Google, I don't need anybody else for my personal cloud. So if they're chasing businesses and they're convincing businesses that they can pay for their services, then kudos to them. But until I see that, it's a speculative play. The chart, I'm not going to bother because it's just too recent. So I don't see the business model long-term not being challenged. I mean, they say they're holding hands with Google and Microsoft. I just don't see why Google needs them, but I don't know enough about it. So if you do, then kudos and trade your opinion there. But technically, there's not much I can tell you. I could. If I look at the one, like a 2-hour chart, I can tell that 28.2 is important to hold, obviously, because this is the bottom. So if they lose the bottom that's been going on for a little bit, then they tend to overshoot lower. But from a trading perspective, I had some longs and I booked them and I got lucky with that.
Side note, just with Google there, and it's I just have a story there. So my wife's iPhone was dying and we needed to upload her. Actually, it was weird. It was like she couldn't, you couldn't, the where you plug in for charging. I don't know what that would be, your charging port or whatever. It wasn't reading that anymore, the iPhone. So you couldn't actually plug in to just upload directly to iTunes. So I was with my tech guy here, who's great, this a great guy who's great, and he's trying to figure out, exactly, how to, upload and how to get it up to iTunes, all these photos, so she doesn't lose all her photos when you can't use that port. So then we were trying different solutions, trying to, upload it to iTunes, but then it wasn't working right, and then there wasn't enough storage, and they wanted you to buy more storage, and he's like, well, you know what, we'll just go to Google Photos. Upload all to Google Photos. They have unlimited storage there, Nick. You were just talking about, storage there. Unlimited for free. Apple want me to pay. So I used Google Photos to save my iPhone. So I used Google to save my Apple product.
Here's another tip that may save your iPhone, really.
Yeah.
Grab a paper clip. What kind of iPhone is it?
It was the iPhone 6.
I was going to say that, Nick.
Okay. Grab a paper clip, and I bet you have lint collected inside the pod.
No, I took it to the tech guy, and it wasn't actually, the port itself worked. It was the card inside it or whatever that wasn't reading the port anymore. So he's like, this is a hardware issue. He's like, this is done. There's nothing you can do about that. This guy's pretty good with that.
I thought they were beyond breaking. Apple, perfect.
I don't know if they break. No, you know what? Even my iPhone's not that great. These things do break. So that's they're intense. They got to break them every 3 years, so you buy a new one, Nick.
I was being sarcastic.
They got to. If they were unbreakable, Apple would be in trouble.
I tell you this, I will never pay $800 for a phone anymore, ever. I will buy a
But it's not just a phone. It's not just a phone.
Here's what I will do. I will buy a cheap flip phone and tether a nice tablet that I put in my pocket. That's what I will do. Because this is ridiculous. I can buy a tablet for $50 and they want me to pay $1,000 for a phone. No stinking way.
I just signed the contract with my service provider, and then I know you pay it over the long term, I guess.
But you're just financing it with no interest for 2 years.
Basically.
That's what you're doing. Not basically. That is what you're doing. They divide the payments into 2 years and no contract. But hey, you have to pay us for the phone for 2 years.
Nick, one more and we'll let you run. I saw you address it in the chat already. HTHT, thoughts?
Technically, I don't know the company at all, and technically frisky. There's no reason to short it. If I'm long it, I probably will trail, like book some and leave some running. If they can break the high from the scandal that which just put on yesterday, then they have some room to go. I definitely would not short it up here just from the price action.
All right, Nick Chahine, author of Create Income with Option Spreads, has been on with us. Nick, thank you so much for the time, as usual, and have a good one.
You too.
All righty.
All right, are we looking in the chat here? Jazz has been asking about Agilent Technologies for quite some time here.
Yeah.
Big drop is
reported last night.
Oof, not a good one or not good guidance.
Doesn't seem like a good one.
So here's the number. Q2 EPS 65 cents, beat by a penny. Sales 1.2 billion. That's in line with the estimate. Q3 EPS light 61 to 63 cents. 65 was the estimate. Sales guidance also mostly light on that as well. So downbeat Q3 guidance, and the Q2 was fine. They were pretty much in line on both numbers. So nothing to
down there in April. It's interesting. I don't know what the pre-market low is here, but we're about $1 up.
And then a new surge. Nice call, Dennis. Kind of close. You had to have been out there at 63, 62 actually as your pre-market low, and then just kind of like inching up here. The level, keep an eye if you want continued upside. You need to clear 65.30. That's your recovery high. You mentioned those lows that you had under $64 and had $64 at the beginning of April. So there's actually got a triple bottom at the 63.50 area. So like that as support. Dennis, I thought you were going to give us a little well, it ran from 65 to over 70 ahead of the report.
Again, same thing. These things are like clockwork. They run up ahead of the reports, and unless they really blow it away, they sell off after. This has been the most, consistent earnings season for that. It started with the banks right at the beginning of earnings season. It's still going on. We're at the end of earnings season at the retailers. We're still seeing the same thing, the run-ups ahead and the sell-offs after. I mean, how many companies beat? A ton of them, but they all were priced in. I mean, that NVIDIA was a great report, but you know what? The stock topped out and never actually got even back up there. I even tried to make a bet. It was such a great report.
We were weak to start the show. The weaknesses continue.
Big time.
We have just touched a Friday's low of 16 and a quarter. So there you are hitting your 2-day low. I think Spinner mentioned something here. 10-year hitting 3.05%. So a little bit that, the bond yields and the interest rates are scaring people a little bit. 16 and a quarter. That's a big number here. After that, we could easily slide back into the 26 handle today. So bears reemerging today, at least in the S&P futures, trading just above Friday's low, 16 and a quarter. Keep an eye on that number.
Back to ratings land. We got Ford catching a downgrade at Piper here. Full disclosure, I am short some Ford. You got ULTA catching an upgrade at Oppenheimer. That stock's trading up $4 in the pre-market. You got WTW getting a buy rating at SunTrust. Man, they are late to the party on this one. SunTrust always seems late to the party. Not picking on them, but I kind of am. Anyways, they are raising, or they are now coming out with a buy on WTW up here at $78 now. I mean, where were you 2 years ago and this thing was at 10? I mean, talk about this Weight Watchers. It has been straight up. I mean, it is making new all-time. It's funny, or not. It's actually not even to all-time highs. Almost at 2011, but now you're upgrading it. I mean, you got all those 11, 12 highs. It looks like we're going to test them. Yeah, maybe there's like 5 more points of upside, but holy cow, man. If you're looking at this, it was $65 a week and a half ago, or $66. I mean, this is the definition of chasing here now. It's going to be up today because it's come out with that buy rating there, but I just think, longer term here, I think this is all priced in.
Trading near the highs of the pre-market session, 79.64. That marks your pre-market high. You're going back to levels here you haven't seen in almost 6-7 years. I'll give you 2 numbers to keep an eye on. We're only 90 cents away from the $80 level. Your high in April 2012, 79.99. Then you got another monthly high at 82.80, at 82.81. And what's that? What's the all-time high, believe it or not? That could be that 82.80. No, all-time high is 86.97. But, boy, I'll tell you, after 6 years, there could be some sellers, some GTC orders resting out there at $80. Spoos on the lows of the session, trying to hold. Made a new low here, 15.75. So a lot of selling going on here, 35 minutes before the opening price. Dennis, I just want to check. Did you get your Shake Shack down to 57 yet?
It is. No, it's just it's right there. It just took out the bid of 57.01 though. I think it's going through 56.51 is your best bid right now. So I think it's taken out 57. I think we're going to see Shake Shack $55 here in the next couple days. Dennis, that's where I'm going to bring in my short.
You're going to wait for this gap fill. You're going to forget about this.
Oh, I'd love to do that. That's not, I don't know if it's doing that. It's still somewhat in favor. It's still in favor overall. I mean, there's going to be buyers on pullbacks here.
Dennis, a lot of people got turn. It's the turn. Come on.
Kramer causes turns. I mean, he's influential there. And don't kid yourself. It's trading down $1 here today. A little bit to do with the market, a lot to do with Kramer bearish rant last night, because this was trading down when the market was still actually trading flat. But we are in a free fall here on the market right now. What are you doing in the market, Joel? Stop selling.
What's going on over here?
Stop selling. Take your finger off the sell button. You got a bad alpha running
Chris,
over there?
You there? Could you
Spencer, is this you selling, just dumping everything? You dumping your GE2 right now? What's going on?
We had a retail sales that came in lower, but I mean, that's not going to do it.
So. That was a while ago.
Yeah, that was 25 minutes ago.
Big time now.
Is there big
Facebook, Fang, and props to Kramer here again, because he was saying this last night. He'd be booking profits in Fang. Kramer might have caused this. Facebook down 1% because Kramer's pretty bearish last night. He hasn't been bearish in a while. Amazon down $12. Netflix here down $3 in the pre-market. And Google also trading down 8 points in the pre-market. FANG taking it on the chin. This is profit taking, guys. We've been up too much too fast. We talked about this just about 5 minutes ago on the show. We've fallen $1 since then. So waiting for.
I could have gotten you, Dennis. I could have gotten a nice edge on you.
Couldn't have gotten. I said I wasn't chasing. I was bearish.
You were.
Was I not bearish? And now rewind the tape. 805. Did I not say 266 on the SPY? Did I not say 266 on the SPY?
Spencer, did he not say new all-time highs?
I still stick
Friday.
All-time highs. New all-time highs in the summer, but we're pulling back before that.
Who said what, really?
You said by Friday.
Who said
new all-time highs?
I said 266 on the SPY here today. That's where I'm a buyer.
Hey, Chris, if you get a chance, I know you're listening there in the background. Ask Spencer. TT Mac is hopping in here. He's blaming it on the dollar here. I think your 10-year over, that 10-year hitting 3.05 is looking, it's probably scaring people a little bit as well here. So
yeah, but the TLT, the bonds are down today.
Hey, what about gold? What about gold? No flight
gold
to
down too.
It's a sell everything day.
Gold's getting hit hard here. Right? We haven't talked giving gold the love. Gold's getting hit hard here right now. You talk about gold. GLD is down $1.50. Look at this gold chart. I mean, there was a lot of bulls in the bull camp up in April. They're kind of, just crickets there now because we actually are taking out the May low here right now on GLD. We are actually on GLD here right now, making almost a new low for 2018. Actually, I think we are. I think we're new lows for 2018 on GLD. Did we take out the yeah, we're new lows on the GLD for 2018.
Yep, trading down at the lows for the year. Gold under that psychological 1,300. The gold bugs are getting squashed today. Now that you're under $1,300 here, we do have a monthly low in the gold futures here at 1288. So keep an eye on that. Gold, everything in a free fall here this morning. 12 and a quarter. Your pre-market low.
Can I read you something? I want to read something real quick, courtesy of Andrew Horowitz, who has been on the show before. He's standing right over here because he's at the event as well. This is coming across I'm reading this from his phone now. Market slipping lower post economic data. Price paid component of New York Empire weighing in here as the retail sales a little light. Would also note some Kudlow trade comments pointing the finger at China crossing 15 minutes ago now. So a couple and some hawkish comments from the Fed's Kaplan, and we are seeing some heavy early tape. I believe that's from Bloomberg. I'm not sure where this is from. Briefing. There we go. So that's a good summary of a couple reasons why we could be. Sorry about that. We could be a couple reasons why we could be trading low this morning there.
Straight up 5% in 7 trading sessions. We needed a breather. So this is the breather we need. I tell you, I got my bid down there at 266. I don't think we're getting there in the next. Maybe you never know though. All right, it doesn't hurt. I think we're due for a little bit of a wicked sell-off, and maybe this is the start of one. Maybe we're only going to get $1.50 on the SPY. I'm hoping for more, though, because I'm a buyer of pullbacks here because I still say we're hitting new all-time highs, but I still am going with I said this morning, I think we're due for a pullback, and that's what we're doing.
All right. I'm going to wrap it up, Joel. Is that okay with you?
You guys are doing a great job. How do we sound today, folks?
We sounded
good right till now. Now Spencer's echoing.
Hey. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap it up for the day, folks. Thanks to all you who listened. Thanks to our guest, Nick Chahine, author of Create Income with Option Spreads. Thanks to those of you in our chat rooms, premarket.benzinga.com, and on our YouTube chat as well. On tomorrow's show, we are joined again from New York City, Andrew Zatlin. He'll be on the show from Moneyball Economics. Hope everyone has a good rest of the morning and a good day in the markets. If you're in New York, come out and see us. Joel and I are here. Who else is coming on the event, Joel, that's been on the show? Gene Munster is coming here. We have Bill Santiago, the comedian. He's coming here. We have, I'm blanking now, Kenny Bakari. He's coming. A lot of people are going to be here. If you're in the area, come on, stop by New World Stages in Hell's Kitchen. We'll be here all day and night. So it's going to be it for us today, folks. Again, have a good rest of your day. We'll see you, folks, on Wednesday.